Hey guys, in this video I am going to be going over section 2 of the probability assignment. Section 2 is all about using past data in order to make some predictions on the future. So sports analysis might use this, like if they work for ESPN, to look at past data, past games, and use that data to predict who's going to win the next game. So we're going to be doing something similar for 6, A, B, and C. Before we even look at those questions, we're going to look at the data and just kind of get a little familiar with the data. All right, and I do have to point out a mistake I made on this data. So the the y-axis, it's actually measuring the number of games, not the number of points. So the number of games that they played. And then the x-axis is actually measuring the number of points they scored in those games, not the number of games, okay? So go ahead and fix the x and y-axis. Y-axis is measuring the number of games. X-axis is measuring the points that they scored in those games. So we're going to go ahead and look at how many games they played in total so we know what will be our denominator, the bottom of the fraction. Because remember, we are going to have a fraction when we talk about probability. The bottom is number of possibilities. The top is the number of possibilities that meet our constraint or the result that we want. Okay, so we have 2 games where they've scored 0 to 9 points. So I'm going to take that 2, add it to 4 games where they've scored 10 to 19 points. They've played 5 games where they've scored 20 to 29 points, 3 games where they scored 30 to 39, and 2 games where they scored 40 or more. If we add those all together, we should get 16. So that's going to go on the bottom of our fraction. All right, so now we know the bottom of our fraction is the number of total possibilities, or like the past games when we're talking about experiential data. Now we're going to look at our constraint. So looking at question 6a, what is the probability of scoring less than 10 points in the next game? We're going to use this constraint to figure out what's going to go at the top of our fraction. So we're going to go back to our data and look for how many games they've played where they've scored less than 10 points. And look, it's got this nice little category right here that says 0 to 9. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Only 2 games have been played where they scored less than 10 points. So we're going to go ahead and take this fraction, make it into a decimal, and that decimal will become a percent. So if we make that into a decimal, we get 0.125, which equals 12.5%. So there's a 12.5 chance based off previous data that this team scores 10 or less points in their next game. That's it. All right. 7. I'm not going to go over the answer for 7a, but I'm just going to kind of walk you through setting up the data because that can be kind of the hard part. All right, so we are going to be using this weather data to predict, based off past experience, how much rain we can expect in the next day. Okay, so we have the days that it rained right here and the inches of rain on that day. So for our bottom, we're going to be adding up the number of days that it rained. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, total of 5 days. Actually, you know what? Why not? Let's do 7a together. All right, so now we're going to figure out what will go on the top of our fraction or the results that meet our constraint. We're looking for the probability of getting 0.25 inches or less of rain. So we're going to look at our data and we're going to look at when there was 0.25 inches or less. And it looks like there was only one day where it rained 0.25 inches or less. So we're going to make 1/5 into a decimal. That'll make it into a percent. So when we make that into a decimal, it's 0.2, which equals 20%. That is your answer. If you guys need any help with 6B or C or 7B or C, feel free to ask. See you later.